Isaiah Sargent also faces charges for going armed to the terror of the public. He's in jail for an incident this past weekend downtown.
Officers arrested him after getting several calls Saturday morning about a man walking around with a rifle. Police say Sargent had 2 loaded assault rifle magazines and told police where to find an AR pistol. Now Wilmington police want downtown business owners to help them quickly get access to their security cameras. WECT's Ava Bringord covering that story tonight. Ava, not everyone is on board with this idea.
Right, Fran. Some business owners aren't convinced it's their or their customers' best interest to allow 24/7 access to the cameras. But police say this is simply about solving crimes.
2 shootings in downtown Wilmington in the past month. But it can be tough to track down suspects, especially if witnesses don't step forward. That's why police are asking to work with local business owners, getting access to their security cameras.
The private property owner can determine which cameras can be viewed.
It was the main topic of discussion at a recent meeting between WPD and Wilmington Downtown Incorporated, a group that represents businesses. WPD says it's completely optional, but if agreed on, they wouldn't need permission from the business to access footage at any time. John Herchak, co-owner of the Black Cat Shop downtown, isn't convinced.
I think I'd almost rather provide it in a timely manner, like I can provide it pretty quickly.
He sees it as a privacy concern.
That's uncomfortable for my staff, for our customers for sure.
WPD says that's not the intention.
We don't have the staffing or the personnel to be like a monitoring service, like an alarm company. That's not the intent at all. This is primarily geared towards an investigative type view or type standpoint.
While many business owners agree with Herchak, others are open to police accessing their cameras. Only time will tell if this proves successful.
Police already have access to around 10 cameras across Wilmington, but none downtown so far. Police say if a business owner wants to let police have access to their cameras, they can contact WPD for more information. Fran?
All right, Ava, thanks so much.
A volunteer